I have been dating Ryan for just over a year. We don't live together, but we spend most weekends at his place since it's bigger and closer to both our jobs. Things have been pretty good overall. We rarely fight, have similar interests, and the relationship has felt comfortable. But something happened last weekend that made me question everything. Last Saturday, we went to his friend Mike's birthday party. There were about 25 people there, mostly Ryan's friends from college and their partners, plus some work colleagues. I knew maybe half of them from previous gatherings. I'd met Mike and his girlfriend Erica several times and liked them both. They seemed like a solid couple who treated each other as equals, which I always appreciated. Ryan was excited for the party because he hadn't seen some of these friends in months. He started drinking early, having a few beers while we were getting ready at his apartment. By the time we got to Mike's around 8 p.m., he was already buzzed. I was driving, so I only had one drink at the beginning of the night. The party was fun at first. Good music, decent food, casual conversations. Mike and Erica had gone all out with decorations and a fully stocked bar in their apartment. There was a table full of photos from their college days. And Ryan spent a good 20 minutes showing me pictures and telling stories about crazy things they'd done back then. "This was after we won the softball championship," he said, pointing to a photo of him and Mike with their shirts off, covered in mud and holding beer cans triumphantly. "We celebrated for 3 days straight. I don't think I went to a single class that week." I smiled and listened. He seemed happy to be reconnecting with old friends. I mingled a bit with people I knew and met a few new faces. One of Ryan's college friends, Jessica, was particularly friendly. She worked in design too, so we hit it off talking about our projects and the struggles of dealing with demanding clients. "How long have you and Ryan been together?" she asked after we'd been chatting for a while. "Just over a year," I replied. She nodded. "You seem good for him. He was kind of a mess with relationships in college, always dating party girls who were as chaotic as he was." "I'm definitely not a party girl," I laughed. "That's probably why it's working," she said. "You balance him out." Ryan did several rounds of beer pong and some drinking game with cards that I wasn't playing. I was talking with Mike's girlfriend Erica and a couple other people in the kitchen. Erica was telling us about their recent vacation to Costa Rica. Mike wanted to just lay on the beach the whole time, but I made him go zip-lining and hiking, she said. He thanked me afterward. Sometimes guys need a push to get out of their comfort zone. "Ryan's the opposite," I replied. "He's always wanting to try new things while I'm more hesitant. Last month he convinced me to go rock climbing, and I was terrified, but ended up loving it." "That's the sign of a good relationship," said one of the other women. "You help each other grow in different ways." Around midnight, I noticed Ryan was getting pretty wasted. He was talking loudly, slurring a bit, and kept putting his arm around people. I saw him take a shot with some guys I didn't recognize, and then another. I wasn't worried at first. Ryan usually handles his alcohol okay, and he'd been drunk around me before without any issues. He's normally a happy, affectionate drunk, nothing mean or aggressive, but something was different this time. Maybe it was being around his old college friends, or maybe he was drinking more than usual, but he seemed to be regressing to a more immature version of himself. I was getting a water from the kitchen when I heard loud laughter from the living room. I walked in to find Ryan in the middle of telling some story to about 10 people. As I entered, he saw me and loudly said, "There she is, my Maid With Benefits." The room got awkwardly quiet for a second, then some people gave uncomfortable laughs. I felt my face get hot immediately. Ryan didn't seem to notice and continued. "Seriously though, guys, she keeps my place spotless, cooks like a dream, and takes care of me in the bedroom. Total package, am I right?" He tried to high-five the guy next to him, who reluctantly tapped his hand while glancing at me apologetically. I was frozen. It was like one of those nightmares where you can't move. Some context here. I do tend to clean up when I'm at Ryan's place, but that's because he's kind of messy and I can't stand dirty dishes in the sink or clothes all over the floor. And yes, I enjoy cooking and often make us dinner, but he always seemed appreciative, not entitled about it. Mike immediately tried to change the subject. "Hey, did anyone try the tequila Jessica brought back from Mexico? It's in the blue bottle on the counter." But Ryan was too drunk to read the room. "No, but for real," he continued, "you guys have no idea how good I have it. Remember when I lived with Josh senior year and the apartment was a disaster? Now my place is always clean, fridge is stocked, and I don't have to lift a finger. It's like having a wife without the ring." He laughed at his own joke. I noticed Jessica's eyes widen as she looked at me with sympathy. One of the guys, I think his name was Dave, said, "Dude, that's not cool. You make it sound like she's your maid, not your girlfriend." Ryan laughed and said, "Why not both? That's the dream, right?" Another guy chimed in, "Man, if my girlfriend heard me talking like that, I'd be sleeping on the couch for a month." Ryan put his arm around this guy's shoulder. "That's because you're whipped, bro? Sarah's cool. She knows I appreciate her." Then he looked at me with a goofy grin. "Right, babe?" I finally found my voice and said, "Ryan, I think you've had enough. We should probably go soon." He rolled his eyes dramatically. "See what I mean? Always taking care of me." Then he stage whispered to the group, "But I'm not ready for the party to end. Someone distract her so I can do another shot." At that point, Erica came over and quietly asked if I was okay. Ryan's being a real ass. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. I honestly didn't know what to say. I was hurt, embarrassed, and confused. Was this really how he saw me? As some kind of servant he gets to sleep with? I just need a minute, I told her. I went to the bathroom and locked the door. My hands were shaking as I leaned against the sink. Looking in the mirror, I could see my eyes were watery, my cheeks flushed with humiliation. I took some deep breaths and tried to process what had just happened. There was a gentle knock on the door. Sarah? It's Jessica. Are you okay? I opened the door to find her holding 2 glasses of water. She handed me one. Ryan's a dick when he's drunk. Always has been, but that was especially bad. Thanks, I murmured, taking a sip of water. I don't know what to do. I drove us here, so I can't just leave him. You could take an Uber home and let him figure it out, she suggested. He doesn't deserve your consideration right now. I thought about it, but the idea of abandoning him when he was this intoxicated made me uncomfortable, despite everything. I should probably get him home. Jessica looked at me carefully. Can I be honest with you? I've known Ryan a long time, and you seem way too good for him, the way he talked about you out there. That's not how someone talks about a person they respect. Her words hit hard because they reflected the doubts that were already forming in my mind. I told Jessica I needed some air and went out to the balcony. The cool night air helped clear my head a bit. A few minutes later, Mike came out and apologized, saying Ryan was out of line. I've never seen him talk about you like that before, Mike said. He's usually telling us how talented you are with your design work and how you challenge him to be better. I don't know what got into him tonight. I went back inside, determined to get Ryan and leave. By this point, he had moved on to another conversation and seemed oblivious to what had happened. When I told him it was time to go, he complained, but eventually agreed when Mike backed me up. Party's dying down anyway, Mike said, giving Ryan an out. Most people are heading home. Ryan hugged Mike goodbye, holding on a bit too long in that way drunk people do. Love you, man. Don't be a stranger. I thanked Erica for the party, and she squeezed my arm sympathetically. Call me if you need to talk, she said quietly. The car ride home was tense. Ryan was too drunk to notice at first, singing along to the radio and talking about how fun the party was. Josh hasn't changed at all, he slurred. Then he put his hand on my thigh. You looked really hot tonight. Did I tell you that? I moved my leg away slightly. No, you were too busy telling everyone I'm your maid. He didn't seem to hear me and continued rambling about people at the party. When we were about halfway to his place, he finally picked up on my mood. What's wrong? He asked. You're being really quiet. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. Do you remember what you said about me at the party? He looked confused. What do you mean? You called me your maid with benefits in front of all your friends. Ryan laughed. Oh, come on, it was just a joke. Everyone thought it was funny. No, they didn't. It was humiliating. You're overreacting, he said, waving his hand dismissively. I was just complimenting you. It's not my fault you're good at taking care of stuff. It's not a compliment to reduce me to someone who cleans your apartment and sleeps with you. That's not what I meant, he said, his tone getting defensive. You're twisting my words. Those were literally your words, Ryan. Made with benefits. And then you went on about how you don't have to lift a finger at your place anymore. He sighed dramatically. It was just guy talk. You know how it is. No, I don't know how it is, I replied, my voice getting shakier with emotion. Explain it to me. Is that really how you see me? Of course not, he said, but there was something unconvincing in his tone. Why are you making such a big deal out of this? I didn't respond. There was no point arguing with him while he was this intoxicated. We drove the rest of the way in silence, the only sound coming from the low hum of the radio playing some late-night talk show. When we got to his apartment, Ryan immediately went to the bathroom, then collapsed on his bed, still fully dressed. I took off his shoes and put a glass of water on his nightstand, a habit of caretaking that now made me question my own behavior. Why was I still taking care of someone who had just publicly humiliated me? I slept on the couch, something I'd never done before in our relationship. I barely slept, replaying the night's events in my head and thinking about our relationship. Had I allowed this dynamic to develop by trying to be the cool girlfriend who never complained? Had I been so eager to please him that I'd created this uneven relationship? The next morning, I woke up early and made coffee. It was automatic, my usual routine at his place. As the coffee brewed, I realized I was doing it again, taking care of his needs without thinking. I almost dumped it out in protest, but decided that would be petty. When Ryan finally emerged around 11, he looked terrible and clearly had a bad hangover. His hair was sticking up on one side, and he had pillow creases on his face. "Why'd you sleep on the couch?" was the first thing he asked, squinting against the light coming through the kitchen window. "Because I'm upset with you," I replied, trying to keep my voice neutral. He groaned and poured himself coffee. Is this still about last night? I barely remember it, but I'm sure it wasn't that bad. I recounted what he'd said, and his face gradually showed recognition, then embarrassment. Okay, that was a stupid joke. I'm sorry if it upset you, but I was wasted. You know I don't actually think of you that way. Do I know that, though? I asked, because you seemed pretty comfortable saying it in front of everyone. He got defensive. Come on, Sarah. You know how guys talk sometimes. It wasn't meant to be disrespectful. How exactly is calling your girlfriend a maid you get to have sex with not disrespectful? Ryan sighed. You're making this into a bigger deal than it is. I said I'm sorry. But his apology didn't feel genuine. It was more, sorry you were offended than sorry I did something offensive. Would you have been okay if I'd told all your friends that you're just my wallet with a penis attached? That I only keep you around because you pay for dinners and fix things around the house? His eyes widened. That's completely different, and you know it. How is it different? Because, he started, then seemed to realize there wasn't a good answer. Okay, I get your point. That would be really demeaning. I decided to lay it all out. Ryan, I've been thinking about this all night. The reason your joke bothered me so much is because there's some truth to it. I do end up doing most of the cleaning when I'm here. I cook most of our meals. I'm the one who remembers appointments and events with your family. He started to interrupt, but I continued. The thing is, I never minded doing those things because I care about you. But hearing you brag about it to your friends like I'm your personal servant made me realize you might be taking advantage of me. That's not fair, he protested. I do plenty around here. Like what? When was the last time you cleaned the bathroom, or did laundry when I was staying over, or cooked dinner for us? He couldn't give me specific examples, just vague assertions that he contributed in other ways. You know I'm not good at that domestic stuff, he said, but I'm the one who plans our fun activities. I'm the one who fixes your computer when it's acting up. I'm the one who drives us to your parents' place for dinner. So your contribution is doing things you enjoy and basic relationship courtesies, while mine is being your unpaid housekeeper? He looked genuinely frustrated. Why are you making it sound so transactional? Relationships aren't about keeping score. They're not about taking advantage either, I replied. And right now, I feel taken advantage of. I think you're being unfair, he said. One stupid comment when I was drunk, and suddenly you're acting like I'm some kind of sexist monster. You know I support your career. You know I respect you. I thought about this. It was true that Ryan had always been supportive of my design work. He came to my exhibitions, bragged about my projects to his friends, and never once suggested that my career was less important than his. That's partly why his comments at the party had been so shocking. They seemed to come from a different person than the one I thought I knew. I need some time to think, I told him. I'm going to go home. Ryan tried to convince me to stay, saying we should just move past this. But I was firm. I left without saying anything else. On the drive home, I called my best friend Jen and told her everything. She was appropriately outraged and invited me over for wine and sympathy. I'd dump his ass, she said when I arrived at her apartment. What year does he think this is, 1955? We sat on her couch, drinking red wine and analyzing the situation from every angle. Jen had never been Ryan's biggest fan, thinking he was a bit too cocky, but she'd always respected my choice to date him. The thing is, I said, swirling my wine, most of the time he's great. He's funny, he's thoughtful in other ways, and we have a lot of fun together. But this feels like a glimpse behind the curtain, you know, like I saw what he really thinks of me. People say drunk words are sober thoughts, Jen replied. And even if he didn't mean it exactly like that, the fact that he can't understand why it upset you is a red flag. He's making it your problem instead of taking responsibility. I thought about the early days of our relationship, how thoughtful Ryan had been. I wonder when things changed. When did I become the maid? It probably happened so gradually that you didn't notice, Jen said. That's how these things usually go. They start doing a little less, you start doing a little more, and eventually it becomes the expectation. That night I stayed at Jen's. Ryan texted several times. Hope you're feeling better. I really am sorry about last night. Can we talk tomorrow? I miss you. Are you staying at Jen's? Let me know you're safe. I responded only to the last one. Yes, at Jen's. Need some space. The next day, I went home and spent the day alone, thinking about our relationship. I made a list of all the things I typically did at Ryan's place versus what he did. I also thought about other aspects of our relationship. Who initiated plans, who compromised more. The more I reflected, the more I realized that while the Maid With Benefits comment had been the catalyst, my concerns went deeper. I'd gradually taken on a caretaker role in our relationship without even realizing it. That evening, Ryan called instead of texting. I almost didn't answer, but decided we needed to talk eventually. I've been thinking a lot about what happened, he said. I was a jerk, and I'm really sorry. Not just for what I said, but for how I reacted when you told me it hurt you. It sounded more sincere than his previous apology, but I wasn't ready to let it go just yet. Thank you for saying that. Can I see you? Maybe we could get dinner somewhere and talk. He sounded anxious, which was unusual for Ryan. Not tonight, I said. I need more time. He was quiet for a moment. I understand. Just please don't give up on us because of one stupid night. I love you and I don't want to lose you. It was the first time he'd said he loved me. We'd been dating for over a year, but neither of us had crossed that line yet. Part of me was touched, but another part wondered if he was just saying it to fix the situation. I'm not making any decisions right now, I told him. I'll call you when I'm ready to talk. That was 3 days ago. Ryan has texted me several times, first just checking in casually like nothing happened, then getting increasingly concerned about why I'm being distant. Yesterday he called and left a voicemail saying he misses me and wants to talk. I do plan to talk to him, but I needed this time to really think about our relationship. Looking back, there were other red flags I ignored. He often jokes about how his mom still does his laundry when he visits his parents, at 28. And I realized I've been doing more and more household tasks over time without even noticing. Last night, I made a decision. I'm going to meet Ryan for coffee tomorrow and explain that if we're going to continue this relationship, things need to change. Equal partnership or nothing. I'm not sure if the relationship can be saved, or even if it should be. Maybe this drunken comment revealed his true feelings. Maybe he doesn't respect me as an equal partner, or maybe it was truly just a stupid mistake that we can work through. Either way, I deserve better than being someone's maid with benefits. And I'm finally ready to demand that respect, even if it means walking away. I just got back from meeting Ryan for coffee, and I wanted to update you all since your comments gave me strength to handle this conversation. I got to the cafe early to calm my nerves. When Ryan arrived, he brought flowers, something he rarely does. He looked nervous, which surprised me. I've been thinking a lot about what happened, he started. I really messed up. I was prepared for another half-hearted apology, but he continued. After you left, I kept replaying that night in my head. I couldn't remember everything clearly, so I called Mike to ask what exactly I'd said. He didn't hold back. He told me I sounded like an entitled jerk, and that several people were uncomfortable with how I talked about you. Ryan explained that Mike had actually called him the next day to say he was out of line, and that several of his friends had texted him saying the same thing. One of the women at the party had apparently told Mike's girlfriend she was concerned about me. Jessica texted me too, he said, looking genuinely ashamed. She said I haven't changed since college and that you deserve better. That really hit me hard because Jessica has known me forever, and she's never called me out like that before. He took a deep breath. I didn't just embarrass you, he continued. I embarrassed myself. And when you pointed out all the things you do for me that I take for granted, you were right. I tried to make a list of what I contribute to our relationship, and it was pathetically short. While I appreciated this self-awareness, I still needed to make my position clear. The Maid with Benefits comment hurt because it felt like that's how you see me, I told him. Not as a partner, but as someone who serves you. He nodded and looked genuinely ashamed. I don't want to be that guy, the one who expects his girlfriend to mother him. My own dad is like that with my mom, and I always thought it was ridiculous. Yet here I am, doing the same thing. I think what hurts most, I said, is that I never saw myself as someone who would fall into that kind of relationship dynamic. I always believed I'd demand equality. But somehow, I let this happen gradually without even noticing. That's on me, Ryan said. I got comfortable with you handling everything and stopped putting in effort. And the worst part is, I was actually bragging about it to my friends. Not just at the party, but other times too. Mike mentioned that I've made similar comments before when you weren't around. That stung, confirming what I had suspected based on Mike's hesitation when I asked him that night. What exactly did you say to them? I asked, not sure if I really wanted to know. Ryan looked uncomfortable. Nothing as bad as what I said at the party, but I would joke about how you domesticated me or how I never have to worry about cleaning because you'll just do it when you come over. Stupid, thoughtless comments that I didn't think were a big deal at the time. We talked for nearly 2 hours about expectations, division of labor, respect, and what we both want from a relationship. He admitted that he'd gotten comfortable with me handling everything and hadn't noticed how uneven things had become. I want to do better, he said, not just with cleaning up more, but with how I talk about you and think about our relationship. You deserve a partner, not someone who treats you like a convenience. I was honestly surprised by his level of reflection. It would have been easy for him to just promise to clean more and never make jokes like that again. But he seemed to understand that the issues went deeper. I've been talking to my sister about this too, he admitted. She said she wasn't surprised and that she's been trying to get me to grow up for years. Apparently, she's noticed how I let you do everything when we're at family gatherings. His sister Katie had always been nice to me, and I respected her a lot. She was successful, independent, and didn't take any crap from anyone. The fact that she had called him out too made me feel validated. What did she say exactly? I asked. She said I was turning into dad. That was hard to hear. My dad expects my mom to handle everything domestic while he just works and watches sports. I never wanted to be that kind of partner. We agreed on some concrete changes. He'll start doing his own laundry and cleaning his place before I come over. We'll alternate cooking meals. He's going to learn to manage his own appointments and social calendar. If either of us notices the relationship becoming unbalanced again, we speak up immediately. He also said he's going to individually apologize to people who were at the party and heard his comments. I especially need to talk to Jessica, he said. She's known me since freshman year, and I value her opinion. If she thinks I'm being a jerk, I probably am. I told him I needed to see consistent change, not just promises. We're going to take things slower for a while, still dating, but spending less time together so I can evaluate if his behavior really changes. That's fair, he said. I need to prove to you that I can be the partner you deserve. As we were getting ready to leave, he asked me something that caught me off guard. Do you think you can ever see me the same way again, or did I ruin everything? It was a vulnerable question from someone who usually projects confidence. I thought about it for a moment. I don't know, I answered honestly. I care about you, and I want to believe people can change. I'm cautiously optimistic, but not naive. Your comments about alcohol revealing true feelings, rather than creating them, resonated with me. I'll be watching to see if his actions match his words. Some of you suggested I break up immediately, and I seriously considered it. But after today's conversation, I think there's a chance for growth here, both his and mine. That said, I've set clear boundaries. If this happens again, or if the changes don't stick, I'm prepared to walk away knowing I gave it a fair chance. Thank you all for the support and advice. It really helped me organize my thoughts and approach this conversation with confidence instead of doubt.